Hi guys, how we going? Just as I turn the video on, starts chainsaw. Can you hear that chainsaw? Oh no, that was perfect timing to when I just started my video then. Okay, hello everyone, I'm Benjamin Cowenberg, the site creator of consciousazine.net. Today I want to discuss the illusion of similarity that these organic portals strengthen in this world. Because you've noticed, all the souls, we love being different, like it's pushed to the extreme. People, got piercings up the yin-yang, they'll have a piercing up their ass soon, just to be different, you know what I mean? So, it's the organic portals that, keep everything same, status quo, all this stuff we know. But I just wanted to discuss this on a metaphorical level, because, metaphors, they can make you see things from a different angle, perspective, in a different light, and so on and so forth. So, I was thinking of this analogy earlier. It's like when you look at the human body, this is the surface. I'm always talking about the hard physical edge, the second dimension. And, I call physicality, or what you're seeing here with your eyes, with the light, the photons bouncing off things, that's, remember, also past, because it takes time for things to bounce, right? And in your third eye, that vision is not the past, right? In your third eye, you can even seemingly see future. I have had vision come to me where it's like bang, 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 like images, boosh, boosh, boosh. And I see people in the future who I'm going to interact with. Then sure enough, 6 months later, I was in some girl's home and I'm like, oh, and, you have that epiphany of, oh, I remember you from this vision. And I used to have a lot of these, more around the center of the Eschaton 2012, and I'm going to tell you all about that in my book, The Eschaton, that I'm currently writing, what actually happened at 2012, because there is no record of it. The mainstream media puts out a movie of a tidal wave taking over the world, and that didn't happen. It might still with pole shift, but you know what I mean. 2012 itself was like a temporal vortex, really. To just quickly summarize it, I don't want to even get into it because that's not what this video is about. But in my book, The Eschaton, I was talking about these visions. So in your third eye, it's not that you're seeing the past. Yeah, you can see past lives and so on, right? But in your third eye, you're seeing the real moment of now, the real moving image of eternity. And it's that the moment of now encapsulates the future and the past. And if you understand, we've had philosophers say that, but if you understand Terence McKenna's time wave, and which introduces a theory of resonance, and if you understand the theory of resonance, you understand how future and past periods are in, connection with each other. And, or sometimes you can't help but notice that it's the same thing expressed differently. So the maximum case of this, I find, is the surface, the maximum case of similarity. And the maximum case of this is this surface, and the physical edge, or what you might just see as physicality, right? Maybe you don't think the way I'm thinking about it. So just to keep it simple, just physical stuff here. That's what I call the hard edge of reality. and it's the pinnacle of all existence. Here, physical is the pinnacle. You know what a pinnacle is? Like, you know, the tiny, I have my hand, but maybe that the top there is the pinnacle. You know what I mean? Or a tall building and they have like a pinnacle. That's what this is. And that analogy, or how I've said that, is perfect to how people say that, you know, the dimensions are like an onion layer. You've heard people say that in the past. I will agree with that, that the dimensions are like an onion. The further out you go, the larger and more encompassing in scope, you know, that these dimensions are. So it's more encompassing in scope the further out you go, or the higher dimensionally that you go. So, excuse me. So the illusion of, you know, similarity is that, you know, we are all human bodies, right? And I've been discussing how the organic portals are just their body. It's that they are only their, you know, physical aspect, or the macrobiological veil. You know, when you say beyond the veil, if any of you utter that sentence, what you're saying is beyond the veil of physicality, right? So that's what I'm saying. The physicality is the veil. That is the part where it's the maximum case of similarity. Sure, my skin is not heavily melanated and I'm not black, right? I'm not a Negro or an African American or African or whatever, right? And then there's red, yellow, white and black people and whatever. That's just a little bit of differentiation, right? Of, you know, the pigment and all this. But my point is that we all are a human anthropoid monkey body. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. This is the illusion of similarity, that we are all just like this human body, and that the universe is what it seems to be, like currently. It's the dumb view. It's where you look and you go, oh, that must be what, you know, I think it is. And usually people think with a horizontal and not spiritually vertical, but a horizontal frame of mind, what they've been taught or brainwashed and indoctrinated with over our lives, right? So you look at a tree and you go, that's a tree, it's not a human. But let's forget like the rest of the environment. What I'm trying to say is, in the context of organic portal anthropoid body, that remember we say that the organic portal is only the animal body. They're not reaching into the angelic realms or whatever, or the higher dimensions, or however you want to put it, right? So they are only the veil of the physical, okay? And my whole point with this video is that there is an illusion of similarity where if you know, didn't think any further, weren't taught any further, didn't see it for yourself any further, you would just look and you would think, okay, everyone is a human. Everyone is just a monkey body. We're all the same. But this is what I'm trying to, you know, reveal to you in this quick analogy I'm about to do. Took 8 minutes to introduce. Anyway, you got to make a video somehow. So the you know, the illusion of similarity is that the surface itself, right? And I've stated before that organic portals are part of a surface virus, which is like a cross current of the flow of the universe, you know, consciously, vector evolutionarily, and that, you know, it's the beast riding the machine and a surface virus. And I always talk about the surface virus, and I'm still going to do some videos on that, like when we go more in depth. But this is part of that, okay? This is going to be part of those videos of a surface virus and how the surface virus works. Now, part of how the surface virus works is via this similarity, this illusion of similarity, that when you know, look physically at photon bouncing stuff, you see a monkey body. Here's my metaphor that I mentioned at the start. We are like the ocean, you're on your little skip out in the ocean, and you're in your little dinghy, you're fishing, whatever. The ocean's, generally flat, right? Let's just pretend it's a completely calm day. Either way, even if there's some chop, it's generally like a similar plane, right? I didn't mean flat or flat earth or anything like that. That's not what I was insinuating. I was saying like it's all flat, it's all the same, this topologically, it kind of looks the same, and it's all congealed and the surface tension and blah blah blah. So when you look at the surface of the water, it all looks the same. Okay, this is the start of the analogy. When you look at the surface of the water, it all looks the same. But underneath the water, there's sharks, there's swordfish. You've got this weird manta ray looking thing. What is that, jellyfish? What is that? And then you go even deeper. And I'm analogizing to the ocean of mind, that you go inward dimensionally within yourself and you go into the ocean of mind, right? And and you go into the depths, right? You're scuba diving into the depths, and down the bottom you've got the weirdest things you've ever seen in the ocean. You've got some anglerfish with like a little light to big weird looking mouth, and you've got everything but similarity once you go beneath the surface, is my point. So once you go beneath this surface, the physical veil of reality, the illusion of similarity seems to completely dissolve, and it seems to, all go the opposite way. That's my analogy there with the ocean, on Earth. That when, you dive beneath that surface veil of the ocean, where all you're seeing is, what's it called? All you're seeing is self-similarity, right? I'm trying to think of a word. Sorry, it's not coming to me. But all you're seeing is the stuffed up the vibration. Anyway, don't worry about that. We'll just go with like unarticulated. A surface plane that's all similar, right? And you go beneath this surface of the ocean, or the human body, from the outside, where we all kind of just the same because we're a monkey body, right? You would just think, looking at us, okay, that guy's a monkey, that guy's a monkey. We're monkey bodies, right? We're an anthropoid, not anthropod, but anthropoid body. That's how we're all the same. But when you go beneath the surface, you begin to see that, people think completely differently. But that is the soul humans, right? So obviously every video I do, I'm trying, on organic portals, I'm trying to give you another razor of, to slice things up, of discernment. So that you can go, okay, that guy's an organic portal, that person I'm not sure, that one definitely. It's just, I'm not trying to say, point people out and blah, blah, but you're going to have to, we navigate the world via our discernment. So you need these razors of, discernment to cut up the world, to understand it, to create your brain schemata, right? So beyond this body, you notice that everybody speaks or has completely different language, aka code. But in other words, beneath the surface, we are all very different, but not the organic portal. That's what I'm saying. That's where this video culminates, for you to go, oh yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not like a huge epiphany. I'm just, I think we should just put these videos up. To just have these up, you might forget it, watch this video in a year and go, oh yeah. So my whole point is that, it's always the soul human that you always see that is really like different and striving to be different, right? Like I said in the start of the video, people going to have bloody rings up their asses soon just to be different. You know, people pierce their this and that and this and that. Tattoos here and there and that and that. You know, people try to be different on the outside, but with the organic portals, you can. You can judge them like a book cover. Now, that's, you know, a little iffy because a book cover is like one sentence and a whole book is many pages, yes. So it's a weak analogy, but you know what I mean. It's basically true. It's true enough. It's true enough that you can, you know, see the organic portal like that, right? You can almost judge them like at face value sort of thing. But with a soul human, you know very well that it's much more difficult, right? So that's also part of this, you know, and the surface virus is where they want to assimilate you so that you're like that, so that you're afraid to be different, and so that you give your power away. You notice the whole system is set up like this so that you give your power away to icons, to giving your sacred labor away for pennies on the affinity, $15 an hour, $50 an hour. That's still pennies on the infinity. Even if it's $100, $1 million an hour is still pennies on the infinity. Work out what I mean, because you're here to do your light work, your great work, your magnus opus, to focus you and what the Tao, or I don't know, what the universe, what God, whatever, has to put through you so that you become saved and AKA a part of the universe. And it's like they are not. It's like they are just the surface virus. I have to get this across. Naive viewpoint, which is the same as looking at the human body and being like, oh, we're just all, you know, monkeys. But then when you look beneath the surface, everybody's a different alien, because past and future times are in resonance with each other. And in 10,000 years from now, when we, the human race, go onto Mars, I postulate the grey aliens will arise physically. Some people are these grey aliens, and they express this. I'm not. I express energies such as Sirius, Andromeda, Arcturian energies, and not little big round-headed grey alien fake Arcturians. I mean the real thing, and they're not demons. You're wrong, because you don't understand and you didn't get it, so you're jealous. I don't care. Dislike the video. It doesn't make a difference. If you dislike the video, I still had the experience and I still channel those energies, right? And what I find funny is that you'll never get a great work from an organic portal, and that the surface virus is making us all into that. It's trying to lift inflation to the perfect point where you have to work all day. It lifts rent to the perfect point where you have to work all day. And you can't do your great work, you know, and that then you've been assimilated, you know. And, you know, back to the main core of this video, you know, they're even afraid to be different because, you know, then they'll be outcast, and they know that's proper death for them, you know. In some way they know that, or they must realize that, right? And, you know, they always stick together so vehemently, you know. And you notice that the soul human is always very happy to go off and be by themselves. And, you know, all the soul humans I've met, they all have different energies. Like one might be channeling their future self when they're like a grey alien, like I said, or your friend might be channeling how they're, you know, within themselves, and that starlight coming through them, that they are a Pleiadian or something, you know. Actually, I have 7 colours of blonde when I was born, 7 colours of the sisters of the 7 main stars of the Pleiades. So all these energies, they're differently expressed, but you'll notice this in souled humans. And so this is another way to tell who is an organic portal. They carry along with them the illusion of similarity. I've tried to explain to you a few different ways how you can see that illusion. And so I hope this video helped. But the main point of it was, you know, that this is just another way to detect who is an organic portal, because they carry with them the illusion of similarity. Okay, my phone took 4 hours to clear the memory, even though, you know, I deleted the videos straight after uploading them, the last 2 pieces of the video. It took like 4 hours to clear. Alright, so now I'm in the dark because it took so long. Look at the effort I put in for you guys, eh? I really hope you like this video, like, as in press the button. Even if you don't, you know, if it's not a glorious video for you, can you just press the button for my effort? You know what I mean? 1 second press for my, like, 4-hour connotation for this video. Anyway. Alright, I wanted to tie this up, addendai it a bit, rigmarole it through a bit. So, because I know I've created a rigmarole. I love that word. So I wanted to, you know, tie this in because I've rigmaroled it so convoluted. So I want to make this easier for you guys to understand as well. But, you know, the main thing, you know, the vision that made me have this, the idea to do this video, and the main asymptote of this video, I think, is that analogy I gave of the ocean, where on the surface everything looks the same, like the human bodies, you know, we all basically have a same human monkey body. So it's like the surface of the water, but when you go within and deeper, you know, these inner dimensions are, you know, very different. But, so yeah, I've talked about that surface part of it all, but now I want to take like a back step and work my way back to some of the points I made. I do this, I talk in circles, just like time. Alright, so in the video Organic Portals, The Other Race, I mentioned how, well, I'm floating an idea of that they're a previous plateau, and this does indeed take care of the idea that was first presented by that Laura Knight and Cassiopeia reading, which, you know, is the title of that, sorry for my amazing language, which the title of that reading is, you know, Organic Portals, an occult reason for psychopathy, which is interesting because that does go with a previous plateau, because there would be, you know, parts that don't work, you know what I mean? So that goes with a glitching sort of bicameral minded organic portal style failed sort of mind or brain, not mind, brain. But you know, you got to understand things like there is always a sphere of understanding which is expanding, and thus there's also necessarily a surface area of ignorance which is necessarily growing larger if the sphere of understanding is expanding. And now take that idea to the idea that they are a previous plateau, like a, you know, a one iteration or something, like human 1.0 or something, you know. That's hard to discuss because that's, you know, how can I say human 1.0? The only real thing I mean there is, you know, historical epoch human, you know. Obviously we were still a human, still a hominid body before, say, the last 11,000 year major cycle of, you know, what we'll call history, from like the first grain silo going up. So, you know, it's a iteration of the fall, and this is an iteration in the way of a fall from nature, how we were, you know, basically unconsciously embedded passively as nature, and we've started to pop out. Now, you got to connect that idea of the previous plateau to the indigo waves. So some of you know about the indigo waves, but then you need to connect the idea of the indigo waves to, you know, how we're sucked from the future and not pushed from the past. This is, you know, the over-pragmatic view of, you know, Big Bang limit case of credulity that we've come out of nowhere for no reason. Anyway, so it's the opposite to that. I say we're pulled from the future via like future state ideals and stuff. I'll talk about it more one day. But if you understand, you know, how we're pulled from the future, and then you can see ensouling is happening more. Ensouling is, it's not that, you know, people in the past had more soul. It's actually people, you know, as we futurize or go through time, we're gaining, you know, more access. It's not that you gain soul, because that's an archonic vision that you gain soul from the lower world. No, no, no. That's what archons are here to do, to take your soul in this lower world. But, you know, they like soul eaters. But it's rather that, you know, you gain more lucidity as time veils are crossed. And so, you know, the people of the past were less soulful. Notice how they were all more the same. Sticking with this video's idea of the illusion of similarity. Well, you had the king, and then you had the people. The people. That's a conglomerate, congealed illusion of similarity, language or notion. The people, you know. Anyway, and they're all the same, you know what I mean? Everyone was the same. And look, a good way to see this is, no, actually, I won't go into that. Let's keep talking about what I was talking about. So if you see this in a historical conscious context, like I'm mentioning in a previous plateau, if you listen to my other video, Organic Portals, the Other Race, that idea of them being like a previous plateau, and, you know, the soul indigo humans who have, you know, seemingly much more soul, or, you know, we are the souled humans. If you understand the indigo waves, it's, you know, increasing in breadth. So, you know, there's more indigo evolution occurring, not less. So there was less in the past, you know. And so that goes with the idea of a plateau of, you know, like a previous plateau, which had to first be created in order to then insert the intelligence and soul part more. Now, that might sound weird. Why would it happen that way? But notice all of reality happens this way, and I'll give you the best example. I've given this before. The robots are a perfect example of that asymptoty. First, and now we're in the perfect time. If you're alive right now and you can't see this, I can't help you. You know, we're in the perfect time for this. The robots are coming together as mechanical extensions of the AI, and the AI is intelligence, right? That's the intelligent portion, artificial intelligence, right? So the robots that are right now being created, for instance, there's Big Dog from Boston Dynamics learning to walk on ice with his little dog-like feet. There's also a robot they teach to walk upstairs and balance. There's also a robot that is learning human emotions, which is just a head. It's this robot head that is just on a table, right? And it talks to humans to learn human emotions. So my idea is that they are the extensions or the body of the AI, but that this is how we have proof that we're being pulled from the future. And this idea, the iteration of the idea I was talking about of, you know, intelligence being inserted after. The whole universe has worked like this. Do you think the electron field at the Big Bang was more intelligent than you are now as a congealed light body? Or, you know, an RNA, DNA conglomerate, or whatever you want to see yourself as? In any way you see yourself as now, you're still more complex than that, you know, basic electron field, which was the least complex state, which went, you know, straight to an atomic field. So now you had atoms, another layer of complexity, to RNA, DNA, and you got, you know, complex life forms. So the idea is there. It's obvious. Like, I'm not making this up. That's how the universe works. So isn't that interesting? You know, intelligence is inserted after, which proves we're being pulled from the future. So what I find interesting about this is, you know, this is a good way to see the illusion of similarity, the organic portals as a previous plateau. And you can see just how people were less thought-filled, so there's that lack of the intelligent portion, you see. Well, people these days are coming up with a lot more ideas. People are more free-minded. They've broken out of that frequency control, which is like a physical barrier, you know. Anyway, I'm probably starting to confuse you. Let's not trail off into that. I wanted to add in that, well, you know, the idea of a plateau is itself, you know, a congealed thing, you know, it already has the idea in it of similarity at a plateau, you know. And I want to make a really good simple example now of the illusion of similarity. When you go to the shop, the supermarket's probably one of the best examples I guess you could give for this. You go in there and everything's the same, right? It's like, just, you know, there is also an illusion of difference, yes. I'm not talking about that in this video. But, you know, they make soya or wheat or, you know, let's just go with those. They make soy or wheat, you know, into different products, and that creates an illusion of differentiation, and there's other ways you can see the illusion of difference. But in the fashion I'm talking about, in the illusion of similarity, you could see, it's just a different way to see, right? It's just a different perspective that I'm giving. And you could see that, you know, in all the products at the supermarket is the same crap, the same wheat, just rolled a different way, made a different way, you know, slightly changed, like, but it's still wheat, you know what I mean? And it's in 100 different products, but it's the same thing. Now, the organic portals, you know, that's, you know, the organic portals are in charge of society, basically, and that's why we have, you know, society like this, that everything is the same. You walk into a shop in Uruguay, where I am, it's the same deal. You got, you know, your basic staples, and it's wheat, soy, salt, sugar, you know, these in all the products. Do you understand? It isn't a goji berry raw cacao protein ball that they maybe chuck a different ingredient in every week, like some of the health shops in Australia. That's the proper novelty, and they're sold humans, obviously. But I mean, you know, the supermarkets and so on, the base of old society. I consider the health shops to be part of maximum novelty post 2012, and that's why I gave that little example, because the sold humans are moving into that arena. You know, we're not like, oh yeah, let's go work at the supermarket. You know, that's the more robotic idea. Anyway, so not to completely lose you, I'm sorry, guys. I know, I understand that it's hard to understand me sometimes. You're just going to have to put in the work like I did to get this complex. So if you can't understand me, it's up to you to put in the work to understand me. I mean, I can say the same thing a million different ways, and if you're not up to understanding, you're still not going to know what I'm saying. Anyway, so what was I saying? All right, illusion of similarity. To tie this back into the rest of the video I already mentioned, like with sport, I gave an example. I know that's going to piss off some people, so I better go back over that example. You know, I said, you know, what does it matter if you do 1/100th of a second faster in a swimming race at the Olympics or a running race or whatever? How is that helping humanity? So they're all like this. There's the illusion of similarity again. What do I mean they're all like this? They're all like able to do trivial things until the sun burns down and the planet blows the hell up or stops spinning or something. My point is, they can do this crap till the end of time. They can repeat robotically and be the same for the end of time, until the end of time, until the sun burns down. You know what I mean? They won't stop. So we've got to pierce it, you know. It's like a dark veil, this similarity. Yeah, this is not the most easy thing to see. That's why I'm even having, you know, some trouble explaining it. I thought the asymptotic example was enough of, you know, the surface of the ocean. But anyway, and, you know, relative to the human bodies all looking the same, basically, we're all monkey bodies still. You know, you might have different skin color, but anyway. So yeah, they can do this stuff, you know, be the same till the end of time, is my point. And the previous point I was just making, and let's delve further into that. So, you know, they can keep getting 1/100th of a second further in the swimming race or the running race or whatever, and what is that doing though? You know, it's just keeping things the same. They want culture to be the same. They've even brought an idea, or, you know, they even hold a ridiculous idea that the Earth is only 10,000 years old. That's how far these organic portals have gone. And you're going to say, oh, that's from the Bible. I'm not an organic portal. Are you sure? Are you really thinking? I don't know. Anyway, so in my opinion, that's definitely part of it. Because the idea of, you know, the illusion of similarity and the sameness is that in the context I'm mentioning it, and I think I might finish the video here, is, and how I'm saying that they can just, you know, go on doing the same things until the end of time is part of the illusion of similarity. They're trying to, yeah, if you're born into the world, you're like, you know, born into something that's already happening, it's halfway through the game or whatever. You're born into this thing right now as a kid or whatever, and you're like, why is everything the same? You know what I mean? You go to a shop in Uruguay, you got the same bread, same, you know, sugar, bread, oil, blah, 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 you know, got the same soy products and as over in Australia. It's like, why is everything exactly the same? Even across cultures. You know, not everything, but we have this base plateau of society that is all the same all around the world. That's them. I've called them, the organic portals, the stabilization function as well. You see how that fits? It's like plateau, stabilization, similarity. These ideas, they do correlate and fit together. What was I saying? Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. The time aspect of this, you know, how they can just keep being the same. They don't change. I've said in another video that they're stagnant beings. I think in video How to Detect Organic Portals 3, I said that in that video. So you know, they can do this same thing till the end of time, and they've made you like, if you come into the game now, you get born and you read the Bible, or you get taught this part of the Bible that I'm pretty sure it's in the Bible, isn't it? Isn't it where this 10,000 years old thing comes from? If I'm wrong, sorry, but there's this, I'm sure it's religiously connected, that there's an idea that the Earth is only 10,000 years old, and they ignore fossils and etc. and carbon dating and all that. But, and yeah, there might be problems with carbon dating, but I don't want to talk about that now. But, you know, they if you're born into it now, it's like you get told that it's always been the same, that we were never, as conscious evolution, a slime mold, that we were always just, you know, the modern human. The world only started 10,000 years ago when culture, or individual rivers of, you know, humans' culture started. You know, I call it rivers of culture because at the end now, we're becoming one ocean of humanity. Oneness. Oh yeah, it's real. It's not a new age trap. You're incorrect with this. Oh, it's a new age trap. We're not all one. No, you're just being silly and immature because you don't understand the positives. So you're just trying to be cool and look at the negatives because it's now cool to be evil. Hey, some of these channels following these other channels that I've mentioned. Yeah, in videos like Organic Portals Crew, that video is going to be coming out very soon. You'll know exactly what I was just referring to and who said it. Anyway, so, you know, if you're born into this game right now, it's like they're even trying to tell you that everything is the same. Everything is as it appears to be on the surface. You know, in a time sense, like I was saying, everything is also the same in a time sense. We've always been the modern human. We're only 10,000 years old. We were never a monkey. What do you mean? We've always just been modern human, in clothes, you know, in designer clothes. Go shopping. So how is it an illusion? Well, the time example was a great way to see it. I'm just going to iterate it with that one example and let you figure out all the other examples. Because you've got your own mind too, don't you? I hope so. Right, so in the time example, how is it an illusion? Because I already mentioned they want you to think that it's always been this way. You know, we've always kind of just been modern human. Then you don't see the progression of consciousness even, you know, from, I don't know, the slime mold. I gave the example, you know what I mean? Or the fish that crawled out the sea or whatever. So, you know, that's why they call indigos like me collective conscious creation instead of the organic portals, which are collective unconscious reaction. So anyway, the illusion is that they want you to think that everything's always going to stay the same. That's another reason for this video being important, and to add it to your skill set to discern organic portals as well, and just to see reality better. Because they want you to think that everything's going to stay the same, that it's always going to be this way. But I don't think you can even imagine. I don't even think you guys can. I don't even know if I can imagine what it's going to be like in, you know, 1,000 years from now. Do you guys study technology like me? There's, you know, these trends, they're accelerations because they overlap with one another. And just in that fashion, they accelerate. And then there's, you know, in one of the trends themselves, it's accelerating. You know, like Moore's Law, for instance, how we're going, you know, into the nano level right now in 2019, actually. We're going to like the nano level. And that's, you know, the doubling of transistors on computer chips is the current Moore's Law. But, you know, there's been more Moore's Laws if you listen to like, anyway, I'll not mention that guy's name. Because people will go, oh, transhumanism, because they don't understand. Anyway, so, you know, they want you to think that everything is always going to be the same as well, and that's very detrimental to your evolution as well. It, you know, it inures you in a change time sense as well. It makes you, you know, not have as much, you know, even enthusiasm to change and evolve. But in actual fact, remember, we are in a situation, a universe, whatever. We're in a situation where change, you know, is the only constant. You know that quote, change is the only constant? Well, at the very least, it is a constant. If it's, you know, the only one, I don't know, but it's a constant in the code of this universe. And if you do programming, like me, computer programming, you know that there's something called a variable, and you pass the variable arguments, and there's also something called a constant, because it always stays the same value. But the idea is that, you know, there's always this change in the universe, but in a time sense, under the illusion of similarity, they want you to think that everything's going to stay the same, you see. Anyway, I'm just going to end it here. Please share the video, because if you share it, then it's not just your like, I might get 10 more likes or whatever, you know, and it's just going to be more helpful if you share it than even if you just press the like button. And I don't know, don't you think this is, at the least novel? Have you heard anyone else even say this? You know what I mean? So you may as well pass it around, why not? That's what I do when I hear novel things, because it excites me. And it's interesting, right? Benjamin Cowlenberg, consciousazine.net. Okay, I can't press the button fully off. Alright, my phone doesn't want to stop recording. Is it a signal? Alright, what is going on here? Okay, I can't stop the video. Stop listening! No, I can't press stop. Oh my god. So I was just going over my notes, and I was just going through my notes to delete extra space for my phone, and I've shot the whole video now, but then, and I did that yesterday, but then, you know, I've just discovered this. Have a look at this. So I've in other words, answered Don Juan. This is from Carlos Castaneda's reading, Active Side of Infinity, or Activate Potential, and this is going to be a little excerpt from that reading that Don Juan spoke in the brackets here. The weird idea, he said, slowly, measuring the effect of his words, is that every human being on this earth seems to have exactly the same illusion of similarity, exactly the same reactions, the same thoughts, the same feelings. They seem to respond in more or less the same way to the same stimuli. Those reactions seem to be sort of fogged up by the language we speak, but if we scrape that off, they are exactly the same reactions that besiege every human being on earth. I would like you to become curious about this, as a social scientist, of course, and see if you could formally account for such homogeneity. So that's Don Juan there, which is a Mexican shaman from readings by an author called Carlos Castaneda. But isn't that interesting? Look, such homogeneity. Same, similar, the same thoughts, the same feelings. I just thought that was a good little add-in at the end, because he's seemingly seen and discovered the same thing that I've just made a video about. Isn't that interesting? So there you go. Us shamans are seeing the same even. No, I don't want to go that far. But yeah, it's interesting. We've noticed something, the same thing. And, again, you could account for this homogeneity. And I am a shaman, which is a social scientist as well anyway. Did you notice that? And I don't know, it's interesting that the human body can account for this, sensed, stored electrical wave stimuli. Like it hurts when all of us punch a wall, because we've got the same body, so we hit a wall. Oh, ow, that hurt my hand, I hit the wall, So this is very interesting that this Don Juan saw something pretty much the same as I'm trying to express to you as well.